I don't know about you, but I'm still waiting for the delivery of my leftovers from the Habs rookie dinner. Send lobster. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another new episode of Habs Hockey Report right here on All Habs Hockey Magazine, part of Rocket Sports Media, and of course, a proud affiliate of the Hockey Podcast Network. Welcome to the show. I'm Amy Johnson. I'm your host for the show each and every Thursday. We're so glad that you're here. Before we get started today, one thing I do want to point out, if you see down here in the corner, there's a DraftKings logo. Because we are part of the Hockey Podcast Network, this show is sponsored by DraftKings. And if you go to the link that is found in the description of this video, follow that link and use the promo code right over here, THPN. New users will get some great incentives when you sign up for DraftKings, so be sure to do that. We've got a great show in store for you today. This is the place where we're going to get you caught up on the latest with the Montreal Canadiens, the Laval Rocket, and we've got some great fan interaction for you. We had such a resounding success of feedback last week after our pilot episode. We heard from so many of you. And of course, we're going to have a feedback forum question for you. The sneak peek of that this week that we're going to talk about later in the show. But you can start thinking now. Leave a comment down below is where do you think, for so long, we thought that the Habs were just plain and simple going to finish last in the league. Their play recently indicates that maybe they won't be in the basement. So where do you think the Habs are going to finish the regular season? We'll talk about that more in the third segment and read your responses to last week's feedback forum question. It's going to be a ton of fun today. So let's get started. All right, as we do each and every week, we're going to start with the Habs happenings. Of course, the Montreal Canadiens continuing that Western Road swing that they started in Winnipeg about a week and a half ago that didn't go so well. We talked about that a bit in our last episode. After that, they headed to Calgary. What was the big deal about going to Calgary? Well, it would be the first time that they would face off against newly traded Tyler Toffoli, who has really been on a hot streak since he was traded to the Flames. Has been performing very well. Everyone expected the Habs to be pretty big underdogs in this one. As Rick Stevens talked about both in the game preview and the game recap at allhabs.net regarding this game, the Calgary Flames coming into this game were one of the hottest teams in the league. And so expected to see them give Montreal a bit of trouble, and surprise, surprise, Montreal was able to beat them. It took overtime to do it. They beat them 5-4 in overtime. Sherratt scoring the overtime winner. It was his second goal of the night. And boy, it was an exciting game to watch. We talked about this. Be sure you check out the latest episode of the Canadiens Connection podcast. That's over at canadiensconnection.fm. It's another Hockey Podcast Network podcast that we produce here at Rocket Sports Media, hosted by Rick Stevens. And this past week, I joined Rick on the show for the second segment where we talked about the big topic of the week, which was the Habs are playing entertaining hockey, but at what cost? What is the price for the entertaining hockey that we're getting to watch? Then they moved on to Edmonton. Okay, again, Edmonton has had its struggles at times, but I mean, it's Connor McDavid, it's Leon Draisaitl. What were the Canadiens going to do? Matthew Perreault in the lineup, playing his 700th game in the NHL. This one was a roller coaster. This was an officiating nightmare, I think. 3, not 1, not 2, 3 goals were reviewed. All 3 of them went against the Habs. It didn't turn out well at all on the official goal reviews for the Habs. I think there were plenty of controversy, plenty of debate on whether or not they were fair, but it was certainly interesting. And guess what? The Habs won this one too. They beat Edmonton 5-2. It wasn't, it's not like it was even close. They were in there lighting the lamp. They had a few days in the beautiful harbor city of Vancouver. Well, it was time for the rookie dinner, the annual rookie dinner, yes. And because of the pandemic last year, they didn't get to do a rookie dinner last year. So they combined both years' rookie classes. So they ended up having 7 guys. In fact, you'll see them right here on the screen. This is from Joel Edmondson's social media. You see we've got Caden Primo, we've got Jake Evans, Alexander Romanov, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Corey Schooneman, and Michael Pezzetta. And so walking around Vancouver in wetsuits and flippers, and I really like the water wings, the swimmies. The swimmies are a really nice touch. I really like that. And then, of course, the rookie dinner. And would you look at this spread? My goodness, the Blue Water Cafe in Vancouver. Those lobster towers look absolutely delicious. And yes, I am still waiting for delivery of some leftovers. I doubt there were leftovers. So they had some fun there in Vancouver. And then it was down to business. Had to play the Vancouver Canucks. They did that last night on Wednesday night. Should also remind you, in addition to the Canadiens Connection podcast, be sure you head over to All Habs Hockey Magazine at allhabs.net. There you will find very comprehensive game day previews. In fact, we'll have one coming up for you this Saturday as Montreal welcomes the Seattle Kraken into the Bell Center. And then, of course, after the game, really comprehensive game recap, giving you analysis, giving you all the stats, video highlights, quotes from post-game interviews. So be sure to check that out at allhabs.net. All right, it is rocket booster time. That's right. Laval has kind of done the opposite of their big brothers in the NHL so far this season. They are currently occupying a playoff spot in the North Division of the AHL. So let's get you caught up on all of the latest from Laval. So last week, after finishing out a 2-game series against the Cleveland Monsters in which they dropped the last one of those, they were looking to kind of rebound off of that, welcoming the Abbotsford Canucks to Place Bell for the first time in franchise history. Of course, the Abbotsford Canucks are the brand new AHL affiliate of the Vancouver Canucks after they moved their affiliate out of Utica. And so when I spoke to J.F. Houle, head coach of the Laval Rocket, last Friday morning, he had some really interesting things to say, not only about strategies about how they need to be better around the net, but also just the importance of them continuing to be hard to play against.
I feel like when I watch video and stuff, we're hard to play against. We track hard, which is one of the key things in our game that most people don't notice, but we track really hard. We're stingy. We don't give much. We try to play fast by moving the puck as quick as possible.
Unfortunately, however, even though those things tried to be executed, it didn't result in a win last Friday night. They did drop that first game against Abbotsford 4-2 on Friday night. So you would think that then having to turn around and play less than 24 hours later and do a 1 o'clock matinee against the same team the next day with the same netminder, we're talking about Kevin Poulin, because let's not forget, for the Habs, Andrew Hammond got injured in early last week, and so he was put on injured reserve. That meant Caden Primo needed to get recalled to the NHL on an emergency basis, and so that leaves Kevin Poulin in net, and they've got a couple of PTO guys, Louis-Philippe Guindon and Tristan Berube, who is from the Trois-Rivières Lions, the ECHL affiliate. Interestingly enough, Guindon, this is the third time Louis-Philippe Guindon has been signed to a PTO, probably in the last 6 weeks or so, with the Laval Rocket. And so I guess third time's a charm. He decided to get our good friend Silabrush to create a custom Laval mask for him, and the Laval Rocket had some photos of that that you see right there. You can see here on the side, one of the things on the back plate, he's got Rocket, the raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy, but here on one of the sides of the mask, he's got a great image of the punchline, of course, Elmer Locke, Toe Blake, and Maurice Richard. Really nice tribute to those guys. He's got, the number 9 on the top of his helmet. So it's a super nice mask, very, very beautiful mask, and he's obviously hoping that he's going to stick around in Laval for a while. So Poulin was tapped to go back-to-back on the Saturday afternoon matinee, but the Laval Rocket came out with a 3-0 shutout for this one, blanking the Abbotsford Canucks. It was a terrific rebound effort from them. As I mentioned earlier, when asked about this kind of schedule where they're not even really getting a chance to practice, when asked about just how challenging this schedule is from a coaching perspective, let's just say Jean-Francois Houle was cut to the chase pretty quickly.
Stressful. I would use that word. It's been a lot of work trying to see who fits where. And the worst part of all that is that we don't even have practice time right now. So rest is so key right now, because we played. It's our 3rd week in a row with 4 games for 3 weeks in a row. So it's been very tough managing their energy level.
So all of that, of course, then led to a Monday night game, the 3rd Monday game for this team in a row, which is unheard of in the AHL. And it was the Springfield Thunderbirds that they were welcoming to town for their final game in this homestand. What did that mean? Springfield Thunderbirds coming to town meant they were going to meet up with the likes of Matthew Pekka, Will Bitton, former Montreal Canadiens prospect who was traded away a couple of years ago, and netminder Charlie Lindgren back in town. You'll recall when Lindgren was up with the St. Louis Blues in the NHL earlier this season. It was pretty well known that his defeat of the Montreal Canadiens on that night was a big deal for him, and he certainly came ready to play in this game as well. He looked very confident in net. This game did not go very well. This was one of the more, I would say, more complete. I don't like to use the word failure, but there were a lot of things that went wrong in this game. Springfield dominated this game. Springfield won this 5-2. And quite frankly, Jean-Francois Houle had some of the strongest comments that I've heard from him this season so far when the media spoke with him post-game.
Well, I thought we had way too many turnovers. We didn't manage the puck very well. It was a sloppy game. Puck was kind of bouncing everywhere, and our execution wasn't great. I think we had too many passengers tonight. And like I said in French, if we'd have more bodies, for sure some of these guys would be in the stands tonight.
Finally, this week, the Rocket kicked off a new road trip. It's a 3-game road trip. They kicked it off last night, Wednesday night, in Rochester, taking on the Americans. Another division rival who was hot on their heels, right behind Laval in the standings in the North Division. And boy, let me tell you, after a very tight first period where neither team was really giving much, second and third period, the Laval Rocket opened this thing wide open, dominated the last 40 minutes of this game, beating Rochester 7-2. And now they finish out the road trip this week. They will visit the Lehigh Valley Phantoms and the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins this weekend. We talked about injuries a little bit. Just a quick update. Lucas Vedamo, Alex Belzile probably won't be back in action until April. JC Bonan and Brandon Gignac were considered day-to-day. They are traveling on this road trip. Of course, we saw Gignac get back into the game action already on Wednesday, still waiting on JC Bonan. Gianni Fairbrother, Toby Paquette-Bisson had MRIs. Their status is unknown. They are not traveling at the moment. And also Josh Brook will be out another 1 to 2 weeks, despite a very brief debut of his season after recovering from his offseason surgery. He's got some swelling on his knee, and so going to hold him back for a week or two, and hopefully that will go down. Be sure to head over to ahlreport.com, read those recaps, follow at the AHL Report on Twitter, and also our Laval Rocket-focused AHL podcast, The Press Zone. You can find that at thepresszone.fm. That comes out every Tuesday, hosted by myself and Rick Stevens, and we'd love to see you there. All right, we've gotten the business out of the way, and now to the fun part, the fan interaction right here on the Habs Fan Hub on the Habs Hockey Report. We've got some great contributions already from our pilot episode that we can't wait to share with you today. First and foremost, want to get that hashtag out there. You've seen it scrolling down at the bottom of your screen, hashtag Show Your Habs. We've got some great submissions this week. I'm going to put some of them up on the screen as we're talking. Great images from Cole, who happened to be in Edmonton for the game. So he was sure to tag hashtag Show Your Habs on his Twitter post as well. You see that we've got someone from Thailand checking in last night before the Vancouver game. And of course, our Show Your Habs Twitter account also sharing some other images of great Habs fans all over the world. Just post your pictures on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram with the hashtag Show Your Habs, and we will feature you right here on Habs Hockey Report. Want to mention our feedback forum, our question of the week. Now, last week, I always promise that we're going to read you some of the responses from last week. So last week we asked, since it was the first show, we asked, where are you watching from? And I should also preface that by saying not only are Habs fans everywhere, well, Rocket Sports Media contributors are everywhere. I mentioned last week that I myself am located in Eastern Pennsylvania. We've got contributors all over North America. We've got some in Montreal. We've got some based in Laval. We've got Ontario covered. We've got Saskatchewan covered. And so we wanted to know where you were watching from. We got some great responses. I'll just read some of them for you. There was someone who was checking in from Thunder Bay, watching from Thunder Bay, Ontario last week. Great to have you along. Also, someone says, I'm in the frozen tundra, Edmonton, Alberta. Go Habs on Saturday night. Love hearing that from Jim. Thanks so much for watching. We have got someone checking in from Gatineau, Quebec. And also, someone, believe it or not, someone checking in from says, hi, Amy, all the best on your show. I am listening to you from New Zealand. Yes, that's right. Great to have a New Zealander watching the show. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks for commenting. And then we have Mike Rachel saying he's watching from Hanover, Ontario, a small farming town about 2 hours northwest from Toronto. Great to have you there as well. Those are just a few of the comments that we heard back from people as to where they were watching from. So thank you so much for your submissions. This week, your question, just leave a comment right down below. I'd really like to see what everyone thinks. What place do you think the Habs are going to finish the regular season? Are they gonna stay in the basement? Are they gonna remain at 32nd? Are they going to creep back up into 31st? Or do you think they're really going to go on a hot streak here under Marty St. Louis and move farther up in the standings? And just leave a comment below. We'll read some of your answers next week on the show. Also, don't forget, we are going to do a regular Montreal mailbag, MTL mailbag here on Habs Hockey Report. Probably going to do it about every other week. We already have one from one of the viewers who left one of their comments about where they were watching from. Also included a tremendously good question for the mailbag, so we are going to hold on to that for next week. If you've got any kind of question about the Habs, the Laval Rocket, Habs prospects, hockey in general, just drop us a comment down below. We'll throw that in the MTL mailbag and we'll answer it for you right here on the show. Well, that's just about going to do it for us this week on Habs Hockey Report. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for coming back. If you watched our pilot episode last week, best way to make sure you don't miss it, just subscribe to our channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you're always notified when we publish a new video every Thursday, and share this video. Thanks so much for joining us. Again, my name is Amy Johnson, and we'll see you again next Thursday for another great episode of Habs Hockey Report right here at All Habs Hockey Magazine.